Hey everyone, this is the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by drroto.com. Get your daily prescription of fantasy sports. This episode is brought to you by WinView Games, the nation's sports prediction leader and home for pregame and live prop contests. You can play against your league mates, you can play against your family, you can play against your friends, you can even play against your co-host and finally settle a debate on who knows their stuff best. This week we're going to be covering the Thursday night matchup against the Dolphins and the Ravens. Very excited to get into this one, but don't forget to first go over to winview.tv/doc. Get $100 matched on your first deposit. That's money right there in your pocket. Go ahead and make that deposit. Tate, let's cover this game. This is going to be an interesting one, I think. Maybe just because in my mind, I feel like the Ravens have cut it too close for themselves lately. And this could be like, normally my gut always says like, oh, you're playing Miami, you'll be fine. But I have to pause now.
The Baltimore Ravens have been this year's version of, giving someone a heart attack on a weekly basis. Because if you're a Ravens fan, every game is close, every game's competitive, but every game's exciting because you got Lamar Jackson, and that's going to be the case again on Thursday Night Football.
Absolutely. I mean, just also in terms of just what we're normally used to seeing with the Ravens and the running game, every week it's kind of who's going to be the guy. I mean, last week we saw Lev Bell have a great week, which is, again, not something you normally would think of yourself saying at this point in the season, but we're in week 10, so all bets are off, I suppose.
Yeah, Lev Bell's career resurrection is one of just the many storylines that have made me scratch my head for the 2021 season. But one thing that we know is Lamar Jackson is the driving force behind this entire offense, and he's putting together what is a pretty impressive resume for yet another MVP bid in 2021. So, I mean, it's interesting to see how he's going to match up against the Dolphins defense, though.
Absolutely. And I mean, in terms of Lev Bell having his career resurrected, talk about Devonta Freeman having his career resurrected as well. Like, this is just not the running game that we anticipated going into this season. Obviously, looking at, their depth chart, it's just nothing but full of IR spots. So
what is it, 2015? I mean, this is a hell of a fantasy squad.
I know, what year is it? like if you're really holding on to them in Dynasty, you're okay now. But like, it's
Cue the Jumanji meme of Robin Williams, R.I.P. of course, all bearded out, just coming out of the game of Jumanji after 26 years. Anyway,
yeah, it's just, what year is it? No, I mean, this team absolutely just completely speaks to that. But on the other side of the ball, talking about Miami, I mean, Myles Gaskin is just someone that, 1 week they have the game of their life, and then the following week they disappear. They have another amazing game in week 7. They disappear again in week 8. And then last week against the Texans, they showed back up again. So, in terms of rolling the dice on what kind of Myles Gaskin we're going to get this week, how do you think he's going to fare against the Ravens defense?
Well, I mean, I guess you got to kind of really pay attention to and kind of notice the health of the offense around him, right? Devontae Parker's on IR. Of course, we know that Tua is listed as questionable for Thursday night, so his status is also up in the air. So if it's Jacoby Brissett under center again, I mean, do we really like any of the pass catchers? Because we don't really know what we're going to get with Jacoby. There's just a lot of unknown. So, I mean, makes these prop games kind of tricky when it comes to predicting stat lines when you don't even know who the starting quarterback is.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
But we're going to try.
We're going to try. We're going to try our best. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this WinView Props. I think that they've got 11 this week. It's kind of a random one for me to see there, but let's go ahead and throw it up on the screen. There we go. Add to stream. I can do this.
Yeah, eventually.
Sorry, my bad. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right in. Number one, right off the bat. I mean, this is going to go kind of right to the very end, really, but who do we see winning this game? Because the first prop of this matchup is Miami wins the game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Baltimore. I just don't see a path, even though I don't think that Miami's record is necessarily correlates with how quality of a football team they are. But your record is your record. And same thing can be said about the Baltimore Ravens, even though they've been in a lot of nail biters. And you kind of go, and there's been some weeks where they almost lost to lesser teams, but they do have that. I mean, this is just a straight up who wins the game. I'm going with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely Miami for me. And at the end of the day, they have Justin Tucker, so even if they're in close, like he's had a clutch season, so I feel like he's definitely going to be someone that kind of saves the game if it does have to get close again. So let's move on to number 2. Both teams combined to score 45 or more points in this game.
I'll go ahead and say yes. That's a pretty low, over under, I guess you can call it more or less, in a national football game in 2021. And you got Lamar, who's putting up pretty good numbers on a week to week basis. So the only thing is what are the Dolphins going to produce? We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had a prediction. I'd say they'd probably finish somewhere around 20 points. I think that the Ravens are going to be able to put up around 27 to 33. So
yeah. No,
yeah.
I agree with you there. I think that's a good number for me to feel comfortable saying yes to that being the overall combined score. So we're going to go with that on that one and submit. I do enjoy the process of maybe it's just me and like the user interface, but I do like it's so satisfying to click through these things. Maybe that's just me.
Yes.
All right. Lamar Jackson passes for 225 or more total yards and rushes for 70 or more total yards in this game.
I'm going to say no. I just don't see him having to put up those gaudy rushing totals against the Miami Dolphins, right? Not that he can't. Of course he can. Can he throw for 225 yards? Of course he can. Yes. I just don't see it being a game where Lamar Jackson has to wear the Superman cape in order for them to win this one. So for both of those to hit home, I'm going to say no.
I want to agree with you because, it is fun when we agree, but it's also fun when we disagree. I mean, the last 2 weeks.
Disagree with me, please. You're welcome to.
It's early, I'm like, do I have the gusto to disagree? Yes, I guess I do. So the last 2 weeks he's had over 250 passing yards. The last 2 weeks he's had over 80 rushing yards in each of those matchups. Against the Vikings, I don't think he needed to put up 120 rushing yards, but he did. I think that Lamar's one of those guys that even if, he doesn't have to, he likes to run. He likes to run it in. He likes to get a couple yards. I feel like 70 is kind of a low number for him here.
Well, I mean, you think about though that Minnesota game went to overtime. I mean,
True.
so again, kind of revisionist history here a little bit, and not to mention that Cincinnati game, they fell behind and got their ass kicked. So that was a lot of Lamar trying to get them back into the football game. Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of getting at is like, That's why I think he hit both of those benchmarks. I just don't see a path where Miami gets out in front and Lamar has to, do his most electrifying man in sports entertainment type of thing. So.
Okay. All right. And then the other thing about this question, which is some of the things that I love about WinView, is the and here. So it's 225 passing yards and 70 or more rushing yards. So looking at the weeks before those last 2 weeks, he fell under 65 rushing yards in those weeks. So
yeah, 70 is just a higher. It's a higher number. It's not astronomical, but it's kind of high.
All right. I'll go with no with you on this one.
I got you. I convinced you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe one of the next ones I'm gonna be like, no, Tate, I'm right and you're wrong. You never know. All right. Jalen Waddle records more receptions than Marquise Brown in this game.
It's been a fun season for Marquise Hollywood Brown, right? Breakout season, top 10 guy so far. But quietly, Jalen Waddle has also put together some very nice games. And certainly what I've loved is his target volume, right? I mean, in the last 4 weeks, he's seen at least 8 or more targets. Yeah. And there's no Devontae Parker this week. So, I don't know if this is as much of a home run as you would think. Yeah. And again, from how I'm predicting the game flow to be, I expect Miami to be playing from behind. Yeah. So those two things combined, I'm actually going to go ahead and say yes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I just feel like the floor for overall targets is a little bit more consistent in those weeks for Waddle as a whole. And I agree. I feel like they're going to have to be playing from behind at some points in this game. Probably the majority of this game, they're playing from behind. So I definitely like Waddle to have more receptions than
kind
Brown.
of a coin flip, though. I mean, both of these
this
guys.
Is close, yeah.
3 out of the last 4 weeks, both of these guys have seen 10 or more targets in specific games, where Hollywood Brown had one game where he only saw 5. So,
Yeah.
They're seeing kind of similar target shares percentages. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's a home run, and game flow is going to be the tiebreaker for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. All right, number 6, Miami rushes for more total yards than Baltimore in this game.
No, and I'm doing my risk-free 751 shot. No shot.
Not a chance. Not a chance. No, I agree, especially considering, I mean, we were just talking about Myles Gaskin, and I don't know what we're going to be getting out of him in this game, in this matchup against that Baltimore front. No. Just no. Let's just move on.
No.
All right, speaking of Myles Gaskin, he records 5 or more receptions in this game.
This is a tricky one. Gaskin's capable of catching a ton of passes out of the backfield. 5's a high benchmark for a quarterback that is mobile, though, and has no reservations tucking that sucker down and running. So I'm going to go ahead and say no.
You're going to say no. I want to say yes on this one.
Okay, you went with mine last time. Go with yes, but tell me why.
All right. I mean, just in the last 5 weeks I'm looking at, I mean, the lowest he's had in terms of targets is 4, and then everything else is 6 or 10 targets. I feel like they're kind of using him in whatever ways they can just to get the job done. I don't see this as necessarily like, oh, he's just going to be consistent in the passing game. I think that it's a bit more sporadic, and that Miami's doing whatever they need to win. So if they need to do a short pass to him, because these are all for very short yardage. I'm not looking at this as like a yards thing. This is just a quick dink and dunk pass, and I'm just recording receptions for that. So I think for that reason, I think that 5 is actually a good number for him in this one.
Okay. And we're not even sure if Tua's not playing tonight. I keep saying Jacoby Brissett. We're not sure that Tua is not playing and going to be active tonight. So I feel, if Tua's active, then I see a much easier path to him hitting that 5 reception total.
Yeah, way to make us wait, Tua, crying out loud. I mean, questionable, right? But I know it's going to be questionable right into the last minute too. So it's kind of frustrating because you're just like, everyone's going to be having to reset their lineups right before.
Kind of frustrating, very frustrating. Yeah. Damn it, Tua.
We have too many leagues.
Can you say his last name?
Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa.
I never say it right, and I try. I definitely try my best, but I don't
know. Like your tongue, Anyway, continue.
Okay,
just move on.
Moving on. Sorry, guys. All right, number 8. More points are scored in the second half than in the first half of the game. This is an interesting one. We haven't had one of these in a bit.
Hashtag analytics. Yes. Just yes. Sure.
Yeah, because the differential between these two is also so razor thin. Yeah, sure. More points are scored in the second half because there's more panic because someone's running behind. It's fine.
Oh, I feel like if as the game presses on to Lamar kind of gets into a rhythm and stuff of that nature. So, I mean, there is actually a little bit of analytics. I feel like there's times where they get off to a little bit of a slow start. So, give me the yes on that. Second half.
All right, number 9. Any defensive player records 12 or more total tackles in this game.
Nah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Jerome Baker for the Miami Dolphins. But nah, I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Yeah.
That's high.
That is a very high number for that. So I agree with you there. I'm going to go no. Prediction number 10. See, I told you there were 11 in this one. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, a little bit.
Miami forces more turnovers than Baltimore in this game.
No. I mean, even though Lamar can turn the ball over from time to time, that's kind of his one bugaboo. But nah, I don't see Miami forcing more turnovers than Baltimore in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I don't think that's a bit high for me. I don't think he's going to force that many. No. All right. Last one. Either team passes for 3 or more touchdowns in this game.
Nah, I don't see a trifecta on either side. So, no, I say they could probably both throw for a pair. But 3, nah, it's a little too much for me.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, guys. Again, do not forget to go to winview.tv/doc to get your deposit matched. They'll match up to $100 on your first deposit at WinView Games. This is a lot of fun. Don't forget to submit them. I mean, It's just such a good time. And I know that you and I like to go back and forth in our texts when we're watching these props go through, and then it's like, we missed that one, or it's just like, yes, finally getting over the limit. It's super fun.
It does on these Thursday night games. I'll watch the box scores and I'll be like, damn it, Myles Gaskin really just caught his 5th pass. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely take advantage of their deposit bonus. It's $100. You're playing with free money.
You're playing with free money. It's a lot of fun.
But no, check it out. And we'll see you tonight for Thursday Night Football.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I think this is going to be an interesting game. I'm hoping that it's a nice, fun, close one. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate. Check out all the other content, seasonal and DFS tools, as well as premium access to our staff for all your fantasy sports questions in the members only section right there on Discord, right here at drroto.com.
Until next time. Yeah. Later, says the Tater. Enjoy yourself some Thursday Night Football.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.